Now, on Sunrise, peace talks between President Trump and Vladimir Putin. A 3-hour meeting in Alaska ends with no conclusive results. We hear from a local relief worker in Ukraine. Plus, say goodbye to free parking after 7 o'clock. How downtown businesses are pushing back. Your news starts now. Good morning, and thanks for getting up with us on this Saturday morning. I'm Libby Dowsett. We will get to your headlines in just a minute. But first, let's check in with Corey Johnson for our first look at the forecast today. Welcome, Corey.
Thanks, Libby. And we definitely are off to a wet start this morning across our area. This is a live picture at satellite radar. You can see those showers across the area making their way east. So a closer look at where those showers are right now and where you might see a bit of rainfall moving east of Portland, the Mount Hood area, the Dalles getting wet for us this morning, and then just east of Battleground as well. So again, this set of showers pushing its way east should clear out by midday. So just a wet morning for us, but we are seeing some cool temperatures as a result of that rain. Right now, 65 in Pendleton, 68 in the Dalles, 65 in Portland, and 60s near the coast for us. A look at downtown Portland. You can see those clouds still hanging around for us. Not that wet in this area. Our morning commute into the studio was a little bit wet, but it is clearing for us in the way of rain. 65 there. A live picture from Chehalem Tasting Room camera out in Sherwood. More cloud cover, but still a beautiful Saturday start for us. 65 degrees there. And in Southwest Washington, expecting highs of 77 in Vancouver and 74 out in Longview, but we will have some brief morning clouds that turn into afternoon sun. A look at this afternoon. If you are planning your way out the door by 2 p.m., it'll be about 71 degrees. 5 p.m. sitting at 75 and then dipping into the low 70s by 8 p.m. We'll break down your hour-by-hour forecast coming up.
All right. Thank you, Corey. Sadly, Multnomah County officials are now reporting a second death, likely related to this week's extreme heat. First responders found the body of a 57-year-old woman in the 97214 zip code. For reference, that includes inner southeast Portland. This came after Thursday's announcement of the death of a 59-year-old man in the 97233 zip code. That area includes the Rockwood neighborhood. The medical examiner's office is working to officially confirm the cause of death in both cases. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin emerged optimistic in their meeting in Alaska last night. The meeting started with a photo op and ended 3 hours later without any real indication of what the two world leaders discussed. In the news conference that followed, Putin spoke first, thanking President Trump while speaking vaguely about the war in Ukraine and his country's interest in the path toward peace. President Trump saying there was some, quote, great progress, and they had reached a, quote, understanding. But neither Trump nor Putin offered specifics.
But we had an extremely productive meeting, and many points were agreed to. There are just a very few that are left. Some are not that significant. One is probably the most significant, but we have a very good chance of getting there. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there. Thank you very much.
And the meeting has raised concerns among Ukrainian and European leaders who fear President Trump may not press Putin hard enough on Ukraine. Notably, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was not at the meeting today. Trump says he plans to speak with Zelensky soon. Before the Alaska summit got underway, our Devin Haskins spoke with a local aid worker who's in Ukraine right now and just 3 miles from the front lines.
We are a local nonprofit.
Julia Brockdorf shared her experience of helping Ukrainians. She's been in the country just over a week now.
Right now, our full focus is to help in multiple ways, both engage in Ukrainian and American community.
She says the reality on the ground
just now, But just now.
Is unrelenting.
I decided to mark every time there is an explosion that I can hear next to where I am at. If in 2 hours, I marked 92 explosions.
Dawn, which stands for Defend, Aid, Widen, Nurture, is more than a supply line to her. It's a link between communities in Oregon and defenders in Ukraine.
So they see that connection that people of Oregon, people of United States care about the outcomes.
The meeting between Trump and Putin comes more than 3 years after the war in Ukraine started.
It's important, I think, for the president to stay focused on why, on the objective of this meeting, and not be swayed by the offers of that Russia may come up with.
She hopes President Trump advocates for the people in Ukraine.
Non-negotiable demand is return of POWs.
She also would like a true ceasefire.
We cannot allow Russia just to give a carte blanche to regroup and to become stronger.
And Brockdorf is expected back in Portland next week. And during her 20-minute conversation with Devin, she said she heard several explosions outside. Police have identified the man shot and killed at a North Portland motel. Officers say 41-year-old Philip Redmond was found Monday night at the Super Value Inn on North Interstate. The motel manager tells us he heard a fight and then saw 2 people running from the room. The manager found Redmond's body and called 911. Detectives are working to track down the person or people responsible. If you have any information on this case, you're asked to call Portland Police. In North Portland, crews responded to a fire at a party supply store. Boom Boom Balloons on North Lombard shares a building with other businesses, but firefighters were able to knock it down quickly.
The structure that was on fire, there was potential for fire to spread horizontally across all those other attic spaces, but the first crews made such a quick knock that didn't happen.
No one was hurt and no word yet on the cause. You can say goodbye to free street parking after 7 o'clock every night, at least in some parts of the Rose City. Jake Holter looks at the change for us.
Parking downtown is difficult. Well, now it's going to be even more difficult when you have to pay for an extra 3 hours of it.
It's a death knell for downtown Portland.
Local residents and businesses sounding off after the Portland Bureau of Transportation announced they will be extending the paid street parking hours from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.
If people realize when they're booking an event here that they all have to pay for parking up till 10 p.m., they'll take their business elsewhere. They'll go to the suburbs where parking's free.
Kel's Irish pub owner Lucy McAleese, speaking with us off camera, says she was blindsided by the move and thinks it's another blow to downtown business.
A lot of businesses are just hanging on by a thread, and something like this just is counter business. It seems counterintuitive. I don't understand.
That's unfortunate. You know, I think if we're trying to get a little bit more foot traffic down here in the downtown area, you know, adding in 3 more hours of time that people have to pay for parking, especially later, is going to disincentivize people.
The hours change comes just weeks after parking fees were hiked, all in an effort to close the department's funding gap. But PBOT spokesperson Dylan Rivera says it's also intended to create more parking availability.
We're starting to see folks circling the block. We're starting to see higher occupancy in those evening times.
When asked, Rivera said he doesn't see cause for concern with the new hours.
We see evidence of folks going where they want to go and not being that sensitive to price.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
Good news for those who take frequent trips to the Oregon coast. That notorious bump on the Highway 26 near Seaside, the one that sends cars airborne, is finally getting a full fix. Slides and underground water created the bump, which has been blamed for several crashes and damage. ODOT has been using temporary patches and even lowered the speed limit to help, but this effort is expected to solve the problem for good. That said, prepare for delays as crews reduce traffic from 4 to 2 lanes. They'll be out there Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. for about a month.